The courtroom was silent. Hundreds of eyes watched as the heavy metal doors opened. 2 alien guards dragged the girl forward. She was young, proud, and beautiful, but her wrists were locked in cold, glowing chains. Her silver hair was tangled. Her blue skin was bruised. But her eyes, they burned with fire. She was Princess Virelia, daughter of High Commander Krex, leader of the Eastern Star Empire. And she was now a criminal. The judge, an old alien with deep red skin and glowing green eyes, looked down from the high seat. His voice echoed through the room. Virelia Krex, you have defied your father. You led a rebellion against his orders. And worse, you helped prisoners escape from the Imperial labs. Virelia lifted her chin. They were children, she said coldly. And your labs were cages. Gasps filled the room. Her father clenched his jaw, his fists shaking. She didn't look at him. Not anymore. The judge raised a hand for silence. You were offered a fair trial. You refused. You showed no regret. Therefore, by the old laws of blood and honor, you will be punished not by prison, but by ownership. The words dropped like stones. The crowd froze. Ownership? Number. One had been given as property in over 200 cycles. It was an ancient, shameful punishment. Your body and name shall now belong to a new master, the judge said. One who does not come from our world. Then the doors opened again, and a human man stepped in. Tall, calm, quiet. His clothes were plain. His face was unreadable. His eyes were cold like stone, but not cruel. He walked straight, without fear, and stopped in front of the judge. This is the one, the judge said. The human you saved, Princess. His name is Dane Carter. Virelia's eyes widened. She remembered him. A year ago, on a broken moon during a secret mission, she had found him bleeding in a ditch left behind by her soldiers. She had disobeyed orders and carried him to safety. And now, this man was here. To take her as a slave? No, she whispered. This can't be. Dane looked at her, but said nothing. Do you accept ownership of this criminal? The judge asked. The room waited. Finally, Dane spoke. His voice was quiet, but strong. I accept. Boom! The sound of the hammer falling echoed through the hall. Then, it is done, the judge said. She is no longer Princess Virelia. She belongs to you now, human. You may do with her as you see fit. The guards unlocked her chains. She rubbed her wrists, stunned. You will pay for this, she hissed at Dane. I should have left you to die. He didn't answer. She stood, weak but proud. Everyone expected her to cry or fight. But she simply walked behind the human, her back straight. Head high. The doors closed behind them. Outside, the cold air hit her face. The alien sun was setting. Red clouds rolled across the sky. They walked in silence toward a small ship. She finally spoke. Why did you agree to this? He didn't look at her. You saved my life once. Now I'm saving yours. By making me your slave? She snapped. I didn't make the law, he said. But I accepted it. To protect you. She stopped walking. Protect me. From what? Dane turned to face her. For the first time, his eyes were softer. Your father was going to erase your memory, turn you into a mindless soldier. The judge gave him another option. I was there. When they made the deal, it was me or death. She felt something twist inside her, anger, confusion, and something else. Fear. You could have refused, she said. I could have, he said simply, but I didn't. He opened the ships. Doran stepped inside. Virelia looked back at the courtroom tower. Her father stood in the highest window. He didn't wave. He didn't blink. She turned away. Inside the ship, Dane handed her a blanket. She took it without a word. The floor was warm. The lights were low. You can sleep there, he said. We'll reach my outpost in a few hours. Don't order me around, she snapped. You're not my prisoner, he replied. But if you run, They'll kill you, or worse. He sat down in the pilot seat. The ship hummed to life. She looked at the stars outside the window, her hands tight around the blanket. Once, she was a princess. Now she was property, but deep down, a strange thought crept in. Why didn't he hurt her? Why didn't he even touch her? What kind of man was this? Human. Asterisk. The smell was the first thing that surprised her. It wasn't metal or smoke, like the warships. It was clean, warm, almost sweet. She stood in the doorway of his house. No guards, no cameras, no chains. "Go in," Dane said behind her. His voice was calm, not like a master, but not soft either. Varelia stepped inside slowly, expecting traps or cages. But instead, it looked like a normal home, a soft couch, a wooden table, a quiet fire burning in the corner, and in one corner, a shelf full of books and something strange, a photo frame. She turned her head and stared. Inside, the frame was a picture of a smiling alien girl, blue-skinned, like her, but smaller, younger. Her eyes sparkled with life. Varelia froze. "Who is she?" she asked without thinking. Dane didn't answer. He walked past her and placed his bag down. "You hungry?" he asked. She didn't reply. He placed a plate on the table. Fresh bread, cooked meat, something green. She narrowed her eyes. "Trying to poison me?" Dane sighed. "Eat it or don't. I don't care." He left the room and walked into another part of the house. Varelia stared at the food. Her pride told her to throw it, smash the plate. But her stomach twisted painfully. She hadn't eaten since the trial. She picked up a piece, sniffed it, took a bite. Warm, real, delicious. Her hands didn't stop until the plate was empty. She sat back, confused. This wasn't what she expected. No cage, no orders, no beatings. Was this a trick? Dane returned with a folded blanket and a soft pillow. "You'll sleep here," he said, pointing to the couch. "You're not locking me in a room?" "No." "You're not going to chain me?" "No." "Why not?" she asked, stepping forward. "Isn't this what you wanted? A pet princess to command?" Dane met her eyes. "I didn't ask for this. But I won't treat you like an animal." That made her more angry. "Then why did you take me?" "Because if I didn't, they would have erased you. And no one deserves that, not even you." His words hit her harder than a slap. She opened her mouth, then closed it again. Suddenly, she felt strange. Like her chest was full of fire, but her arms were made of stone. She didn't know what this feeling was. "You act like a good man," she muttered, "but I don't trust you." "I'm not asking you to," he said, walking away. "I'm asking you to rest." He left her alone in the room. She stared again at the photo on the shelf. That alien girl, she looked so happy, so safe. Why would a human keep a picture of an alien like that? Varelia picked up the frame and turned it around. There was something written on the back. "To my love, thank you for showing me what kindness really means." Her fingers trembled. She suddenly wanted to know more. But also DIDN, single quotes T. She placed the photo back. As the fire flickered and shadows danced on the wall, Varelia lay down on the couch. The blanket was soft, too soft. Her eyes refused to close. Outside the wind howled, but inside, it was calm. Too calm. That's when she made her choice. She would escape tonight. No matter how soft the couch was, no matter how kind he seemed. She didn't belong here. She was not a pet. She was a warrior, and before dawn, she would disappear. The door wasn't locked. That was the strangest part. Varelia had expected alarms, steel bolts, even drones. But when she twisted the handle in the middle of the night, it opened with a soft click. She stood in the doorway, holding nothing but the blanket he gave her. The forest outside was dark, cold, and full of strange sounds. The moonlight made the snow look like white fire. She hesitated. This was her moment. No chains, no one watching, no one stopping her. She stepped outside. Her bare feet touched the snow. It bit into her skin like sharp teeth. She didn't care. Freedom burned hotter than the cold. She began to run. Branches scratched her arms. Ice cut her legs. But she kept moving, deeper into the woods. The stars above were strange, too many, too bright. She had no plan. No map, no ship, but anything was better than being someone's property, or so she thought. 10 minutes in, her vision began to blur. Her breaths turned into sharp knives inside her lungs. She stumbled, then dropped to her knees. Her body shook. The freezing air wrapped around her like death's blanket. She couldn't feel her fingers. Her eyes refused to stay open. She collapsed face first in the snow. The last thing she heard was the soft sound of footsteps behind her. When she woke, everything was warm. Too warm. A heavy coat was wrapped around her. A fire burned close, and she was lying on soft furs, inside a small wooden cabin, not the house, not the cold floor of a prison. Her eyes opened fully. Dane was sitting nearby, sharpening a knife. He looked calm, but his face was red from the cold, and a cut ran down his cheek. She tried to sit up, but pain screamed through her chest. "You're lucky," he said without looking at her. "Another 5 minutes and you'd have frozen to death." She said nothing. "I told you," he continued, "if you run, they'll find you, or the cold will." She narrowed her eyes. "Why didn't you let me die?" He finally looked at her. "Because I'm not your enemy." She laughed bitterly. "You own me." "I don't want to," he said, "but I had no choice." She sat up slowly. "You had every choice. You could have refused the deal." "I could have," he said. "But if I refused, they would have erased your mind. You'd be a weapon now, not a person." His voice was quiet. Not angry, just tired. She looked around. A kettle boiled gently over the fire. A blanket covered her legs. No locks. No handcuffs. He didn't even tie her up after she tried to escape. "You risked your life," she whispered. "For me." He nodded. She stared at him. This human made no sense. He didn't act like a master. He acted like someone protecting something precious. But why? She hugged the coat tighter. In that moment, her heart whispered something strange. Maybe he's not trying to keep me here. Maybe he's trying to keep me safe. And that thought scared her more than the cold. She waited until Dane left the cabin. He said he was going to cut firewood. She watched from the window as he moved through the snow, strong, silent, steady. The moment the door shut behind him, she moved. Not to run, not to hide, but to know. She walked back into the main room, where his belongings were neatly placed. His bag, his gear, his weapons. And on the shelf, the photo frame, that alien girl again, smiling, alive, free. Varelia picked it up, heart thumping. Why did a human soldier keep a picture of a girl from another species? Someone who looked like her. She turned the frame over again. Same words, burned into the back. "To my love, thank you for showing me what kindness really means." Her fingers trembled. Was this his lover? His wife? His daughter? She looked closer at the alien girl's face. The same shade of blue, the same pointed ears. Even her nose looked similar, but her eyes, they were soft, happy. So different from her own. Varelia placed the frame down carefully and sat in his chair. This man didn't beat her, didn't chain her, didn't touch her without reason. And now it made sense. Maybe he had loved someone like her before. Maybe that's why he was kind to her. But that made it worse. She didn't want his pity. She didn't want to be a replacement. When Dane returned, snow clinging to his boots, he saw her holding the frame. He didn't yell. He didn't look surprised. He just walked past her and placed the firewood down. "I saw her," Varelia said quietly. "The girl in the photo." He paused, then nodded. "She was my wife," he said. Varelia blinked. "You married an alien?" She wasn't an alien to me, Dane replied. She was just her. Name was Alari. Varelia looked down. What happened to her? She died during the war, Dane said. She was trying to help. Prisoners escape, just like you did. Varelia's chest tightened. She was kind, brave, gentle, Dane said softly. But your soldiers caught her, and she never made it out. The room felt colder, even with the fire burning. I loved her, he continued. But I couldn't save her. He didn't cry. He didn't shout, but Varelia could feel the weight in his voice, like something he had carried too long. And now I'm here, she said, voice low, looking like her. I didn't ask for that, Dane replied. And I don't expect anything from you. That made her chest hurt. More. You think I'm like her? She asked. No, he said. You're not like anyone I've met. She didn't know if that was a good thing or a bad thing. She placed the photo back on the shelf. I'm not her. She whispered. I know, he said. I don't want your sympathy. I'm not giving it, he replied. I'm giving you space. She stared at the fire for a long time after that. She had tried to hate him. She had tried to escape him. But now, a strange pain grew in her chest. Not from anger. Not from fear. It was something she didn't know the name of, something new. And it scared her more than any prison ever could. It began with a sound in the sky, a low hum, then a sharp crack. The birds in the trees fled. The wind changed direction. Stepped out of the cabin, hand on his sidearm. Varelia followed him slowly, standing in the doorway. And then, the clouds split open. A massive alien dropship, black and gold, descended through the sky like a hunting beast. Its wings glowed with deep red lights. The engine screamed. The snow swirled in a storm beneath it. Varelia's blood turned cold. She knew that ship. Her father's flagship. The ramp hissed open. Tall armored soldiers marched down in formation. Their weapons gleamed. And between them walked a figure she hadn't seen since the trial. High Commander Krex, her father. His armor was heavy, and his eyes burned like stars. Human, he said in a deep, echoing voice. You have something that belongs to me. Dane didn't move, not anymore. Varelia stepped beside him, but Krex raised a hand to stop her. You've proven your point, daughter. The punishment is over. You've lived among lesser creatures. You've been humbled. She didn't answer. You've learned your lesson. Now come home. Still, she said nothing. Krex's eyes narrowed. Did the humans silence you? No. Varelia said finally. Her voice shook, but it was firm. He didn't silence me. He listened. Her words echoed louder than his ship's engines. Krex frowned. You are a Krex, a blood-born warrior of the Empire. You do not belong in this frozen mud world. Dane stayed quiet, his hand still resting on his weapon. Say the word, daughter, Krex growled, and I will kill this man and erase all record of this shame. Varelia's fists clenched. Is that all I am to you? She asked, stepping forward. A mistake? A stain to erase? You are mine, he barked. My blood, my legacy. You do not belong to this thing beside you. She turned and looked at Dane. He didn't speak, but he didn't step away either. Her heart pounded. A year ago, she would have obeyed without question. A month ago, she would have spat in Dane's face. A week ago, she tried to escape. And now, she stood between them. I don't belong to you anymore, she said, her voice steady. And I never belonged to him. She took a deep breath. But I choose him. Gasps rose from the soldiers behind Krex. The commander's face turned to stone. You choose this human? He whispered, as if the words were poison. I choose the one who saw me as more than a tool, she said. The one who gave me a fire, not a cage. The one who didn't break me, even when he could. Krex raised his hand. One of his soldiers aimed a blaster at Dane. Varelia stepped in front of the weapon. eyes burning. "You'll have to kill me," she said. The soldier hesitated. Dane finally spoke. "You want to erase her again? Fine, but this time you'll have to go through me too." A long silence. Snow fell between them. Wind howled through the trees. And then Krex lowered his hand. He stared at his daughter, not with anger, not with love, with something in between. "Very well," he said. "You've made your choice. Don't expect me to clean up after your fall." He turned, walked back up the ramp, and the ship rose with a roar, fading into the clouds. Virelia's knees weakened. But Dane caught her. "I didn't think he would leave," she whispered. "He didn't," Dane said. "Not really. He'll be watching." She nodded. "Let him watch." And for the first time, she smiled, not as a prisoner, not as a princess, just as herself. The sky was no longer quiet. 3 alien warships floated above the forest like silent giants. Their engines made the snow tremble. Light from their hulls washed the land in a dull red glow like blood in the clouds. Inside the cabin, Virelia stood at the window. She didn't blink. "They're not leaving," she said. Dane nodded. He was loading a small weapon, calm, focused. "They won't attack," he said. She turned to face him. "You sound sure." "I'm not," he replied. That was the truth, and she respected it more than false comfort. Suddenly, a sharp tone buzzed through the small radio near the door. Dane picked it up, listened, then handed it to her. "It's for you." She held the device to her ear. A cold voice came through. "This is General Var of the Eastern Empire Fleet. Your father has stepped back. We have not. Return to the capital, or face full exile. This is your final warning." She slowly lowered the radio. "Exile. If she stayed, she would lose her name, her title, her people. Forever. No going back. No forgiveness. No safety. Just the quiet house. Just the frozen trees. Just the human. Dane watched her. His voice was low. "You don't owe me anything," he said. "If you want to go, I won't stop you." She laughed bitterly. "Even now, you're letting me choose. That's the point, isn't it?" he said. "Choice." She walked past him, opened the front door, and stepped outside. The air was sharp. The warships above were silent, waiting. She stood beneath them and lifted her head. "I was born to follow orders," she whispered to the sky. "To bring fear, to fight without feeling. But now I've learned something else." She glanced back at the door, where Dane stood. She took a breath and shouted, "I choose him!" Her voice echoed across the trees. No one answered. No shot was fired, but the warships slowly turned. One by one, they lifted into the clouds and vanished. Inside, Dane watched her carefully. When she stepped back into the cabin, she wasn't shaking. He opened his mouth to speak, but she stopped him with one look. She walked toward him, slow and steady, until she stood close enough to touch. "If I stay," she said softly, "will you protect me?" "Yes," he said, "even from myself?" He gave a small smile. "Especially from yourself." She nodded. Her voice was barely a whisper. "Then let me stay. Not as your prisoner, not as your slave," she paused, "but as your partner." He didn't speak. Instead, he reached out and gently took her hand. No chains, no commands, just choice. Asterisk. The galaxy watched. Not through war, not through battleships, but through a quiet message set across neutral space. Alien princess marries human soldier. At first, no one believed it. Some laughed. Others called it fake news. But then the photos arrived. A quiet cabin, deep in a human forest. A blue-skinned alien woman standing under a snowy tree, wearing simple white clothes. And beside her, the human who once owned her. Now holding her hand, there were no royal guards. No alien banners. No gold or jewels. Just her eyes clear and steady. And his soft, strong and unshaken. Back in the capital, High Commander Krek sat in silence, the wedding photo in his hand that his advisors whispered around him, begging him to erase her name from the royal line, to call her dishonored, to declare her dead. He said nothing because deep in his heart, he knew he hadn't lost a daughter. He had just never truly known her. Back on Earth, Varelia stood before a small group, just a few human friends, soldiers, and off-world visitors. No crown sat on her head. But she walked with the pride of a queen. Dane stood at her side. He wore no armor, no weapon. Just a clean shirt and a steady heart. A local elder read the simple vows. Do you, Dane Carter, take this woman not as a slave, but as your equal, to stand beside you for the rest of your days? He looked into her eyes. I do. And do you, Varelia Krex, take this man not as a master, but as your choice to walk with you, protect you, and honor you? She smiled. I do. The crowd clapped softly. No fireworks, no trumpets, but her soul burned brighter than any flame. They kissed under the falling snow. And for the first time in her life, Varelia felt free. That night, as the fire crackled in their home, she looked at Dane and whispered, They gave me to you as a punishment. He turned toward her. I know. She leaned closer, resting her head on his shoulder. But I think they gave you to me as a gift. He chuckled softly. I don't mind being your gift. She laughed too, and it didn't feel forced. Not like before. It felt real. Because in this house on this strange planet, with this quiet man, she wasn't property. She wasn't royalty. She was just his. And he was hers. Not by law. Not by force, but by love.